Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Tim McCrawley here making another video. It's been quite some time. I'll explain a little bit why, but we had some more. These are VGC 17. At least my team is. I can't, or my opponents might have some other ones. These are just pretty much double battles on the battle spot, free battles. So testing out a new team. So I haven't uploaded for a while. Things been a little complicated. I've been moving a little bit, so. For a while, didn't have internet and everything, and then, I mean, I could have uploaded it. I've been in here for like a month now, so but I just haven't really. It's been a little difficult. I've been doing a lot of other stuff, looking for a job and everything, but I will. I also my setup as well, as you guys know. I just record this with a camera. I don't know how the quality is going to be. It's going to be a little different of a setup, so it'll be a little surprise to me. Even if unless if it's super bad, I won't upload it. But I mean, even if it's pretty bad, I'll still upload it just so you guys know, just so I get something uploaded, just so I can kind of see how this goes, see if I need to change up my loadout or my setup, my recording setup. So my new team here, it's going to be a Tapu Fini focused team, very similar to the one I ran before, the Combine focused one. So it's going to be Tapu Fini here. Mandibuzz is my speed control with Tailwind, and then it's going to be Mandibuzz is going to be holding the Misty Seed to raise its special defense, and I feel these two synergize really well. I was reading up on a team like this, so I decided to make one. So Tapu Fini is going to try and set up with Calm Mind, which is going to help it with its special defense, and Mandibuzz is also going to carry Snarl, which will help lower my opponent's special attack. So it's going to synergize really well. I saw the statistic: if you have one Calm Mind and you get one Snarl off, so let's say you're at +1 special defense and your opponent is at -1 special attack, that you're going to take 55% less damage, which is pretty insane. So that's kind of the main combo there. We also have Garchomp. He's going to be my Z Crystal user. No Dragon type move. It's going to be Poison Jab, Sword Stance, Earthquake. So main idea there is set up a Sword Stance and start sweeping. So throughout the use of the team, I will try and get rid of the threats to Garchomp so he can end up sweeping. I also have here Kartana, just your standard Kartana, max attack. And then you're going to have your standard moves: Protect, Sacred Sword, Smart Strike, and Leaf Blade. And my other two that aren't here, Arcanine. This is going to be a full offense Arcanine with Extreme Speed, Flare Blitz, and Wild Charge, so no close combat there. And then finally, Snorlax to help deal with those Trick Room teams. So, like I usually do, I'm not going to explain everything in depth. That's kind of or you guys are going to see as things go along. So we're going to go ahead and just get into the first battle, just so you guys can see how the team works and everything. So here my opponent had a team of Alolan Golem, Noivern, Heatran, Mimikyu, Alakazam, and Silvally. So here, right off the bat, I'm a little scared of that explosion potential from the Golem, but Mandibuzz Tapu Fini here is a pretty, besides the Golem, I mean, it's gonna be a pretty easy matchup. Moonblast for the Noivern, Muddy Water for the Heatran, and then against Alakazam, I'll be able to, if I get a Snarl off and a Calm Mind, I'll be perfect. So I decided Arcanine's not really that useful here, but Garchomp could be good for the Z move, also for the Heatran, just to be able to nuke anything on his team. And Snorlax, I'm only going to bring against Trick Room teams, unless it's like somehow going to help against my opponent's team, but he's just there for Trick Room teams mostly. So I'm going to lead. This is my most common lead here. Fini, Mandibuzz. My opponent's going to lead Noivern, Golem. So I'm like, okay, he's not going to go for the explosion here because he does have Noivern out. But I'm going to get the terrain up, and you're going to see Mandibuzz's Misty Seed is going to pop, so it's going to be +1. So he actually switches out, so I'm like, oh boy, is he actually going to explosion here? But I was kind of predicting something like that, like even if he nuked his own Pokemon. But the main idea here is if I get up this Tailwind, even like in this position, I want him to knock out my Mandibuzz, because that's just a free switch for me. Like, Mandibuzz isn't really that much of an offensive threat. It has Foul Play and Snarl, that's it offensively. So the quicker I can get it off the field, the more efficient my Tailwind is going to be. So he is going to break the disguise on his Mimikyu, which is also going to be clutch for me. And Mandibuzz is going to go down. So it's just a free switch in for me. So I decided to go into my Kartana here just to threaten the knockout on that Mimikyu. And we're going to see he's going to bring in the Heatran. So I'm like, okay, well, this is perfect. And I decide to go straight up for the Smart Strike here because I am holding Focus Sash. So if he protects Mimikyu and goes for like a Flamethrower, then that's fine. I can just do the same thing next turn, and it'd just be a free Calm Mind for my Tapu Fini. So I was really comfortable with that right there. So I just went for Calm Mind, Smart Strike, and even if he went for Flamethrower, it would have just been a free Calm Mind for my Fini, even though that's what this turns into anyways, because this Heatran can't do anything to me. So we do see the Flamethrower, and we can't get a burn since the terrain is up. So good turn. So as you could, like, it was just perfect for my Mandibuzz to go down there, and we're in a good situation here. So I am just gonna go. I was expecting him to go for the Flamethrower into Kartana, and then I was like, maybe he will protect his Noivern, but that's the only threat that I have because Garchomp can easily take care of the Heatran, and Noivern could have some move that could hurt my Fini. But he actually ends up just going for the Earth Power. He realized that he needed to take care of my Fini, and you're going to see that does nothing. That does nothing. So, very quick, mainly just because he took out one of his own Pokemon, and he allowed me to get my free switch into whatever I wanted from the back. So, very quick battle. I mean, that's with Tailwind teams, that's kind of how you want it. I guess Tailwind and, well, Trick Room teams are a little bit slower, but with Tailwind, that's kind of how you want it, is quick. That way, you can get as much damage off as possible. So, we're going to go ahead. I mean, not much to say. You guys kind of just saw. We're going to go ahead and move on to the second battle here. My opponent had a team of Politoed, Ludicolo, Goodra, Lucario, Wishcash, and Tapu Fini. So very interesting team. Definitely a rain-based team. So we do have to fear the Ludicolo. It's probably going to have Swift Swim. And then Goodra, I think it has Hydration. I think that's its ability. Unless I'm getting that mixed up with like Manaphy or something. But I think that's one of its abilities is Hydration. So my same lead here, mainly because he doesn't really have anything to threaten either of my Pokemon. He does have Ludicolo to threaten Fini, and that's about it. But Tailwind I can get up pretty easily. Fini's going to help out that Goodra, and with a bunch of his Water-type Pokemon. And then the Rain, too, is going to help me out big time. So Arcanine, again, is going to be a little useful here, mainly for the Lucario, and even the Fini, potentially, and his Water-type Pokemon in general. So it's just kind of a backup just in case they're like 50% health at the end. And Kartana is also going to be good against all these Water-type Pokemon that he's bringing. Definitely don't want to bring Garchomp. No Dragon-type moves, so it's not going to be able to do anything. Or it could Z-move, but I'd rather just pick up the super effective damage here. So, like I said, I go with the same lead here. This is going to be my most common lead. It's just like a Lele Driftwood kind of thing. But we do see the Politoed Ludicolo straight off the bat. So the good news is the Ludicolo is going to be a special attacker. So I'm going to be able to show you, or potentially I could set up do the Calm Mind Snarl and just take no damage from the Ludicolo. So I like my positioning here, and we do see an Ice Beam straight to Mandibuzz, and you're going to see very little damage thanks to the C. And then I just go for the Calm Mind just because I know that there's not much he's going to be able to do to me. And I figured he might protect. He might, and they're not even going to be able to do much to me anyways. But I do get up the Tailwind, which is fantastic. And from the Politoed, we do see a Blizzard. He does get the Double Connect outside of Hail. Just wanted to point that out. And you see it also does very little damage to Mandibuzz. So with Fini, all the damage we took, we're gonna heal right back up. And I'm in a perfect spot. He has 2 special attackers out on the field. I have 1 Calm Mind up. I set up a Protect here. I didn't want any. I just wanted to be 100% sure. I wanted to play this safe because I had a huge advantage straight off the bat. and I didn't want to take too much damage from a grass type move. So I go for Protect. We do see the Giga Drain, which is perfect because he can only have a max of 8 PP, and he's never going to knock me out with 8 of those. And I do get the Snarl off, so boom, just like that, I'm going to be taking half damage from regular Giga Drain. So that's huge. And I'm just in a really good spot here. So my opponent here is going to switch out his Ludicolo, and recognizing that he's got to hope for some miracle that his Giga Drain's maximum of 7 left will be able to finish off my Tapu Fini. So I set up another Calm Mind here, because why not? So he's going to switch into Lucario. I just go for Snarl. That he had 2 special attackers out. I wasn't predicting a switch, but I was like, I'll just keep on lowering the damage. So, and he just goes for another Blizzard. Mandibuzz is going to avoid. It does nothing to Tapu Fini. So Tapu Fini has a little bit of a threat here. I don't know if the Lucario, if it's a Mega Lucario, maybe it could do some damage. And it is going to be Mega Lucario, which is fine. It's not that big of a deal. But I still don't even think there's that much this thing could do to me. It'd need like some sort of steel type move just to hit me neutrally. So he's going to protect again with the Politoed. I'm not exactly sure why. He probably could have gotten a little more offense up. But I'm just going to use the Rain here to my advantage. I'm at +2 special attack. And then this is going to be Rain boosted. So there's no way this Lucario is living. So that's just a free knockout there. Using my opponent's Rain against him. And then I just roost up. So Mandibuzz back at full health, and we're basically right back where we started, except Fini is now at +2 special attack, +2 special defense. So, and both at full health. So things are not looking good for my opponent here. I mean, it's a little bit of a slower battle here, but you guys kind of see the power. You see a Giga Drain that did nothing to me, and I'm at +2. He's not even at -1 yet. So I go straight for the Moonblast. I was like, hopefully it's a 2-hit KO, and that's actually just a one-shot, which I guess makes sense because I'm pretty sure that was an offensive Ludicolo. And I do set up another Tailwind here. I didn't know what he had in the back. I didn't know if I would need to bring anything in, but he goes for another Ice Beam. It does very little, and it wasn't an Ice Beam, it was a Scald, and he's going to get the burn since Mandibuzz is unaffected by the terrain. I actually forgot about that at first. I'm like, wait, what? How did it get burned? And then I realized. So the terrain is now going to go away, and we're going to see the last one's Goodra. I'm like, okay, well, this is good. I am at +2. So the Goodra's not going to do, even if I don't knock it out here, it's not going to be able to do much damage in return. So we do just straight up pick up the knockout. So that's pretty much going to be it. I just go for the Snarl. So, and this Politoed is not going to be able to win the game. So we do see Toxic, and I am going to avoid. It's not going to be that big of a deal. If anything, it's going to speed up the games instead of slowing it down. So here I'm thinking I go for the Moonblast. I was actually thinking that it was going to like one-shot him here based on the damage from like Ludicolo and everything. But then I realized it's probably just like pure bulk on the Politoed. So he is going to survive. It was like 80% or something, which isn't too bad. So Toxic is going to connect here. And so I'm not going to talk about the battle. You guys are going to see it. So my opponent doesn't surrender. But this was like one of the prime examples of how good this team is. Now, if it wasn't a Rain team and it was like a little bit of a more balanced team, I also have Arcanine on the team to be able to switch in to get those Intimidates on my opponent's Pokemon to cripple them even more. So in this instance, it was pretty much all special attackers except for the Lucario, who never even got to do anything. The Goodra didn't get to do anything either. But you saw, like, just from the beginning, with how good my setup was, I didn't even need to set up Tailwind because Ludicolo was still the fastest Pokemon on the field, I believe. No, actually, I believe Fini was. But regardless, just from that like initial thing when I set up he had 2 special attackers, that's like perfect for me because I can go for a Snarl, Calm Mind, and then Fini is going to be untouchable by the Pokemon on the field. So Uh, that's where the team shines the most. And even if you were to switch in something like I said in the first battle, you see this one's a little bit longer because Mandibuzz is still on the field. Imagine if turn 1 Mandibuzz went down and I brought in Kartana. Kartana probably could have one-shot this Politoed. So it does kind of slow things down when Mandibuzz does stay on the field. But if my opponent had like one special attacker, one physical attacker, I could have swapped out Mandibuzz for the Intimidate from Arcanine if it was relatively safe. So it's another good thing. It isn't an offensive Arcanine, but the Intimidate that it brings is definitely very strong. So kind of highlighting the strengths of that team. I didn't even have to switch. I didn't have to bring in anything just because the synergy was so good my opponent couldn't even touch me. Granted, he didn't have much to deal with my Tapu Fini in the first place, but it just got completely crippled from the Calm Minds. So we're going to go ahead and move on to the third battle here, third and final. And my opponent had a team of Alolan Ninetales, Arcanine, Blaziken, Goodra, Metagross, and Comfey. So interesting, 2 fire types, so Garchomp is definitely going to be necessary here. You're going to see, I lead Arcanine Garchomp just because my opponent doesn't have much to outspeed me with. Yes, he has the Ninetales, but other than that, he doesn't have a very fast team. So I can start with a couple of fast Pokemon. And so with everything he has, Garchomp is good against everything he has, against the Metagross, against the 2 fire types, even against Ninetales. I have my Poison Jab. But so if I lead Garchomp, the only thing he really has for me is the Alolan Ninetales, so I can just lead my Arcanine and pretty much be untouchable. Or not necessarily untouchable, but I can start like blazing through and like running down everything on his team. So I decided to bring Fini as well, just in case for the fire types and also for the Goodra. That's kind of the basis of what I want to do this battle, is just kind of get in there and run everything down on his team. So I'll get into it. Like I said, I lead Arcanine, Garchomp, like my 2 fast power, and he is going to lead Alolan Ninetales and Arcanine. So I'm like, okay, this is perfect. Well, not necessarily perfect because it is the Alolan Ninetales, and we are going to intimidate each other, and these are 2 physical attackers, so I'm still very pleased with how this turns out. So so he just goes straight up for the Aurora Veil on the Ninetales, and I protected. So I forgot about Aurora Veil. I used it on one of my teams. I didn't like it, so I'm always surprised when people use it on their teams. But we're going to see Heat Wave from his Arcanine, which I found interesting, meaning it was a special attacker, not a physical attacker. Oh, it could be mixed as well. But I go Flare Blitz into the Ninetales. It is the bigger threat, and he barely hangs on. I am at -1, and he does have Aurora Veil up, so lucky him. I do have Extreme Speed though, and based on that damage, Extreme Speed should be more than enough to pick up the knockout. So things are already looking really good here for me. So I do go for Extreme Speed. It does pick up the knockout. So what's unfortunate is if I predicted the Aurora Veil, I could have set up the Swords Dance turn 1 instead of setting it up now. But it's a better choice because I don't want to waste my Z move on the Arcanine when I can protect my own Arcanine and just Earthquake next turn, especially since there's a possibility of the Metagross or the Blaziken in the back. So I'm in a good spot here. I'm only at +1, but that's still really good on Garchomp. So he is going to bring in the Blaziken, and I'm like, okay, perfect. I mean, obviously these guys aren't the best, but regardless, it doesn't. It's just you see the quick Quap Pop here, and we are going to see it is going to be a Mega Blaziken. I was thinking maybe he will protect Blaziken for the speed boost, but since we haven't seen any protects on his team so far, I don't know if he even carries protect. But I protect my own Arcanine, so I can just set up the Earthquake here. I'm like, if he doesn't protect, or whatever doesn't protect is getting knocked out here, basically. So his Arcanine just keep going for those quick waves, Not doing much damage. Both my Pokemon resist. And I do get the Earthquake off. So you're going to see it's not looking good for my opponent here. So that's extremely powerful. It is super effective. I mean, 2 fire types, but it's just the power of Swords Dance Garchomp. So, I mean, I'm kind of gone back and forth between Swords Dance and Dragon Claw on my teams, on my Garchomps. But I guess it just depends. But you don't really see too many Dragon type Pokemon with all the fairies running around, all the Tapus. You see, the last one is going to be Goodra, and my opponent's going to end up forfeiting. I was going to use my Z move there because I don't have any Dragon type moves for Goodra. But you see, again, no switches needed or anything. Obviously, not the best team, but just kind of an example of how like I do have fast, strong Pokemon. My team doesn't necessarily rely on Tailwind. It's just the Tailwind's there to help out Tapu Fini specifically, as well as these other Pokemon. I mean, Arcanine under Tailwind will outspeed Kartana and all this stuff. So that's pretty much it. It's my new team. Interesting. Like I said, it's on a team that I read up, based on a team that I read up on. So that's pretty much going to be it. Hopefully, you guys are excited. For the new team, for the battles and stuff. I'll try and get back up to daily uploads again. So, and hopefully this doesn't turn out too bad. I will like edit it and see how I can make some improvements and stuff. But yeah, that's pretty much gonna be it. If you guys got any suggestions for me, go ahead and let me know. If you got any complaints, also go ahead and let me know, I guess. But that's gonna be it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time.